All right, I did that one.
It looks, audio for Samantha has just left, so Samantha might need to call back in. But continue, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time this morning to join us for this presentation on growing your outdoor recreation industry. This was actually scheduled way back in December when we started to have these conversations, long before the situation that we see today here in Colorado. So I think the timing is perfect to bring these experts to the table to have them share how we can work together to rebuild our state. My name is Gail Langley. For those of you on the call that are not familiar with the Main Street program, I am the state coordinator, which is housed within the Department of Local Affairs. Also on the call is Tracy Stoffel. She is our Main Street specialist and technical expert of getting this go-to meeting all going. And Larry Lucas is also on the call as well. He is our Main Street architect. The Colorado Main Street program's mission is to offer support for community-led downtown revitalization. We help communities thrive by providing a customizable framework to focus energy, efforts, and resources to create a more vibrant community. This program is a catalyst to move you forward one step at a time. As we deal with this unprecedented COVID situation, it is more critical than ever that we take a look to the future, helping our businesses rebuild and restore, retool and refuel, and recharge and revitalize. And as a side note, I want to also assure you that DOLA is actively involved with the State Emergency Operations Center to continue to be a voice for our local governments. All of us, DOLA, CRO, DLG, CDO, and Main Street, we are working really hard and quickly to provide technical assistance, services, and resources to help you get through these challenging times. Together, we will get through this, and we'll emerge stronger. So that was just kind of the added note I wanted to add for today. But with that being said, I am really pleased to introduce our partners today from the Office of Economic Development and International Trade, who will be sharing their resources and funding opportunities so that we can do just this, refuel and rebuild our businesses and our downtown. First up is going to be Samantha Albert. She is the Deputy Director of the Colorado's Outdoor Recreation Office. She will be followed by Jill Corbin. I always say your name wrong. Corbin, and she is the Deputy Director of the Colorado Tourism Office. And then we'll finish up by having Tom Monaco from the Rural Prosperity Office at OEdit, who will be talking about the Small Business Development Center's resources and support. If you have questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. We will field questions after each presenter, paying attention to time. But just so you know, I did reserve a little bit extra time at the end of this webinar that was scheduled to actually maybe answer some of your questions about how this team that's on the call can help with resources and added technical assistance that you might need in your community. So if you can stay tuned after noon and their questions, we'll field those and do the best we can. But if you need to jump off, we understand that too. So thank you again, everyone. And Tracy, I'll let you start with Samantha's presentation.
Okay, Samantha, I'll get this up for you in just a moment here.
Perfect. Can you hear me? Am I still on?
Yes, you're good.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to have Tracy run the presentation for me since we've had a slight screen share issue. So bear with us as I ask her to forward slides for me. But so certainly during this time, we are focusing our efforts from the outdoor rec perspective slightly differently. We're looking at ways to support our outdoor industry and our outdoor industry partners. with this. So really the focus of this presentation is to talk about three programs that we offer, both looking forward the next few months, but also beyond. So will you, next slide, please.
Okay. Maybe. I probably should have tested that part too. I'm not quite sure how to scroll forward here.
I think you paged
There we go.
down on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gail. Is everyone seeing the calendar now? Nope.
No.
I've got screen sharing is paused somehow. I'm not sure. Just a moment, please. Oh. Okay. I think, no.
Okay, so at the Colorado Outdoor Recreation Industry Office, we focus on supporting our outdoor recreation industry. And this is a great visual of how we are focused across the state. We represent, all outdoor industry sectors across the state of Colorado, looking at key areas like inclusive access, increasing our stewardship ethic, making sure that people have access to public lands and waters, and all of that is under the umbrella of sustainable economic development. Next slide.
Okay. I think I've discovered the problem. I have other applications open on my desktop that is pausing my screen sharing. So I think we're good now. Okay. Or not. There we go. Sorry, I am so sorry about this, everyone.
It's fine, Tracy. We're all going to get better at this in the weeks to come as we all.
Exactly. Okay, I think I've got it now.
Excellent. Thank you, Tracy. So we wanted to give you a little bit of a snapshot of the outdoor rec economy first and foremost. So in Colorado, the outdoor economy is 10% of Colorado's GDP, about a little under 20% of the Colorado labor force, and a total impact of $62 billion. These numbers come from the statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, or the SCORP plan, which is what the Department of Natural Resources has to do every 5 years or so in order to secure some federal funding. So we have a huge impact statewide, and in this office, based in the Economic Development Office, is looking at ways that we can take that economic development focus and support the outdoor industry holistically. Next slide, please. So our mission is to champion industry, communities, and people to come to life through Colorado's great outdoors. And we do that by focusing on 4 impact areas. Next slide, please. And these 4 impact areas are economic development, conservation and stewardship, education and workforce training, as well as public health, wellness, and safety. And our goals you can see under each of those areas, but essentially looking at advancing economic prosperity for all Coloradans through the outdoor industry, making sure that there's also a focus on conservation and sustainability, as well as supporting a good education and training pathway for people looking to get involved in the industry. And then finally, that public health component, making sure that people are accessing the outdoors and recognize the health, mental and physical benefits of being outdoors. Next slide, please. So I mentioned that I was going to cover 3 programs briefly. So the first one I'm going to cover is the Rural Technical Assistance Program, or RTAP. Specifically, it's the Grow Your Outdoor Recreation Industry Program. And RTAP is a program that's offered office-wide to the Economic Development and International Trade Office at the state. And each division within OEDIT is able to offer a specific technical assistance program for their division. Next slide, please. So for this specific RTAP program, we're looking at supporting communities, and specifically some outcomes for that are strategic planning that look at new opportunities and key initiatives, potential assessments of areas such as impacts, environmental impacts, social, economic policy, et cetera, as related to the outdoor industry, community visioning plans, and then potential future growth in business and organizations in your specific community. And the way that we implement this program is we are currently working with the Masters of the Environment program at CU Boulder. and we offer graduate support for specific communities looking to invest in an outdoor recreation strategic plan or some aspect in their community that they can grow. So I know with this COVID-19, go ahead. Okay, never mind, I'll keep going. With this COVID-19 issue that we're facing, there's been a bit of a delay in the RTAP applications rolling out, but I'm happy to provide information to people if they have a community idea in mind that they want to pursue. But you can access that link there at the bottom, which is on our ChooseColorado.com website, and you can search for Rural Technical Assistance or RTAP to find out some more, also about what other divisions are offering in the RTAP space as well. Next slide, please. The second thing I wanted to acknowledge is this Get Outdoors Employer Toolkit. The purpose of this toolkit is essentially to, or I guess it's a follow-up on a report that my office did a couple of years ago, which is called the Colorado Outdoor RX Report. And the purpose of that report was to look at ways to engage businesses and individuals with outdoor recreation opportunities as related to health outcomes. Next slide, please. So the purpose of the Get Outdoors Employer Toolkit is basically to offer an assessment and then a set of resources for businesses that are looking to increase employee wellness through outdoor opportunities. And this was created in partnership with the Center for Health, Work, and Environment, which is a part of the Colorado School of Public Health. And it's specifically tied to the governor's initiative focusing on health, which is one of the initiatives that OEDIT decided to tackle this year. So we want to integrate and promote sustainable use of nature and outdoor rec opportunities. And you can find more information on the Choose Colorado site as well, looking for the Get Outdoors Employer Toolkit. And as I mentioned, it's an assessment that's available to businesses. It's pretty short. I think it only takes about 15 minutes. Then you receive a specific scorecard based on how you responded to answers, as well as suggestions for areas to improve. And then the site also includes a whole list of resources from free park days to specific community aspects for getting people outside, whether it's walking, that kind of thing. So it's a really great resource for companies that are looking to expand their employee wellness opportunities. Next slide, please. And the last thing I'll touch on, and this is fairly new for the OREC office, but it's called the Regional Outdoor Industry Grant, or ROI grant. Next slide, please. And the ROI grant is looking to support economic development across Colorado with a specific focus on outdoor recreation opportunities. And while it's still up and running, it's sort of in this planning phase. We hope to roll it out fiscal year 21, so after the summer. But some areas that it could potentially support are land management efforts, outdoor business development, such as attraction and expansion, education and workforce opportunities like training or apprenticeships, as well as programming that connects improved health outcomes and spending time outside. And each of these areas are tied to the office's 4 impact areas. And like I said, we're sort of figuring out what this is going to look like, but it will be funding for communities looking to expand their outdoor recreation industry opportunities and economy. So stay tuned, and if you have any specific questions on that, you can absolutely reach out to me directly, or I can answer questions at the end of this as well. So those are the next slide, please. Those are the 3 programs I just wanted to cover. And our vision ultimately is that the Colorado outdoor recreation industry is a united community of diverse enthusiasts and innovators who support responsible use of and stewardship of outdoor spaces. So with that, I just want to say thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And then I'll leave it to Tracy, Gail, Jill, and Tom for the remainder of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask Samantha while she's available? Well, I guess we should all say, oh, go ahead.
Can you hear me? This is Deidre in Ridgeway. The Get Outdoors Employer Toolkit, would you want us to get the word out about that toolkit to our employers in our communities? It seems like it's a tool that, they could make use of. I mean, most of our employers are pretty small in my community, but seems like, for those who want to have that kind of information, it could be great for them.
Absolutely. That's a great suggestion. We recognize that sort of focus has changed a bit for the time being. So we'd love to share it if you feel like it would be relevant right now, or we can also advance that, a little bit later in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah, I think waiting is a good idea, but although some people have more time to read right now, so maybe now's good. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will make sure I can get that information out to those of you who are on this call.
Thanks.
Just on a technical note here, I'm not sure how Deidre has permission. Glad you do, Deidre, and glad you could join us. But if your audio is not working, do remember that there is the chat box that you can ask questions on as well.
Well, we will all stay tuned, Samantha, on the ROI opportunity as you guys roll that out, and we will keep our Main Street managers all abreast of when that is and what it is. So anyone else have any questions before we move to Jill? Thank you, Samantha. Next up is Jill Corbin from CTO. Many of you know her. Take it away, Jill.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay, great. Just didn't want to jump into everything if I was still on mute. So thank you all for joining today. I hope you all are surviving in your communities and soon will be thriving again. So my hope today is to go through a lot of information, all of which can be found on our website, industry.colorado.com. And also, please feel free to reach out to me directly with any questions, because as you'll see, I have about 30 slides to move through quickly in about 30 minutes. And there's a lot of different programs and funding opportunities that are available for our communities around the state. So I'm sure there will be questions on some specific details. So we can either answer that at the end of the presentation, or please feel free to follow up with me. So moving forward, I can,
I think the down arrow, as Gail pointed out when I was working my way through it, what might be
yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay. So the CTO, here's our vision and mission statement. Really the main thing to know with this is that our goal at the Colorado Tourism Office is to drive traveler spending to our Four Corners state through the promotion and development of compelling, sustainable travel experiences. Our goal is to really drive that economic impact through tourism in our communities, and not to necessarily focus on the quantity of travelers that are coming into your area, but the quality of travelers. So all of our marketing and promotional dollars are very targeted towards what we call a high value traveler in ways that we know that they will come into the state and make the most economic impact for our communities through tourism. And how we do that, this is part of our strategic plan. Again, this is all on industry.colorado.com. If you're interested in reading through our strategic plan, we set all of our work around 4 main pillars: compete, create, steward, and advocate. Compete is really our promotional and marketing efforts. Our goal as the CTO is to market the beautiful state of Colorado to everyone outside of the state, to everyone in the US and around the world, to get them to come to Colorado and make that economic impact I was referring to. And how we do that is through our website, colorado.com. If you're not familiar with it, please take a look. It's a wonderful wonderful resource for locals and travelers alike to utilize. We have lots of friends and family that use this website as well to get trip ideas, weekend ideas. It is consistently ranked as one of the top state tourism websites in the nation. So a lot of our effort is around getting folks to get to this website from around the country and around the world, and to get them inspired and intrigued about what a Colorado vacation would look like for them, and then to hopefully get them to come to our state. We also have our, well, I guess I should go back. One key thing with our website for all of our Main Street managers to know, and especially all the businesses that are located along our main streets and in our communities around the state, is that any tourism related business is eligible for a free business listing on Colorado.com. And so you can just go online, sign up for your business. You'll be included in our directory. And that is sort of our first point of contact to know that your business is out there. It's very helpful for us at the state because we at the CTO are a small office of 10. And so it's impossible for us to know all of the different wonderful experiences and assets and tourism related activities that are taking place around the state. So if you tell us that you're there and that you want to work with us, that just makes our job a lot easier in that we can get out and support you in a much more efficient way. And so please go onto our website and sign up if you are a tourism related business or you have those businesses along your main street. Make sure everybody is aware that that is a free resource for you to take advantage of. We also produce our 2 guides each year. We have our official state vacation guide and then our Love Colorado guide. For our Colorado road trips, this is a new platform that was developed in 2017. This is also part of our strategic plan in that one of the things the CTO was tasked with was getting travelers out and about around the state to those lesser known destinations and those off the beaten path places that have wonderful things to offer for the traveler and for the resident alike. And so that would definitely include a lot of our Main Street communities around the state too. So this is a free tool that any destination community, Main Street community can utilize. It's on our website. You just go and you fill out a form, and it's based around the formula of 3-3-1. 3 things to do during the day, morning, afternoon, evening, and then 3 places to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then 1 place to stay. And so we are looking for 3, 5, and 7-day itineraries of how you would experience your community. These can be based on different themes, you know, whether that be history or culture or outdoor recreation or outdoor adventure, something like that. Or it can just be geographical. You know, these are the best things to do in this area, or it could be seasonal. The main things to remember are that these are free itineraries that are provided for all the communities that so wish around our state. And all you have to do is go online and fill out a form, and then we will work with you to sort of spruce it up and get it all kind of shiny and nice for the consumer to use and get in touch with. We push these out on our social media. They're all on our website. We do a lot with PR and journalists that come and they'll take these itineraries. And we encourage you to have more than one. Our goal is to really have this resource be as robust as possible. And so many communities come to us and say, oh, we have our one Colorado road trip. And I say, why not 5? Get 10 on there. You know, the more, the better, in a way to highlight your community. And as I mentioned, our PR team, we have a pretty robust PR team that is out and about telling all the stories about what's going on in Colorado to the rest of the world. This again goes back to the point I was mentioning with our website and the free business directory. Please tell us that you're there. Please tell us about the new events, new businesses opening up, new attractions that are happening in your communities and in your areas, because the more we know of what's going on, the better we can support you. And so to get involved with our PR efforts, you can either get tied into our hot sheet, which goes out once a month. It's a monthly newsletter just to kind of ping you and remind you of our PR team and the different stories that they're looking for. And then you can also email Abby Leeper, who's our communications manager at the CTO, to get connected with our PR team. And the same goes for our social media efforts. Dave Flugie is our social media strategist. He is telling those stories on all the different social media platforms. So the more that Dave knows about you, the better your community will be positioned to be highlighted and promoted and showcased through Facebook and Instagram and things like that. For our tourism professionals around the state, we do offer an executive training program. It's called the Colorado Tourism Leadership Journey. This is an application-based program that's annual. We have our applications for our FY21 cohort that will open up probably mid to late April. And then through that application process, 20 individuals are selected to be a part of this leadership journey. So this is an opportunity, if you do have those tourism professionals or business owners in your community, to help them get really fantastic professional development, and to also connect with other tourism leaders and professionals around the state. And then our Be a Colorado Concierge program. This was created through the work designated within our strategic plan, based around the idea that businesses were coming to us and saying, you know, we're a tourism business, we understand hospitality, but our frontline workforce tends to be pretty transitional, and it's hard to keep them knowledgeable and aware of the hospitality component to our business, and that we do have travelers walking in the doors, and we want to always be able to put on that friendly Colorado hat for folks when they come in. And so we created a new free platform called beacoloradoconcierge.com to help businesses train their frontline workers. The main thing is to help them answer the question when someone walks in the door and says, hey, I just got into town, what is there to do around here? More often than not, unfortunately, a lot of our Colorado businesses were telling us that the answer to that question was nothing. So we did not want that to be the case anymore. So we created coloradoconcierge.com with these different chapters that are here. Colorado Essentials, Care for Colorado, Colorado Travel Regions, Colorado Style Customer Service. They're meant to be fun, quick chapters that last, or training modules that last about 15 minutes each with a quiz. We've seen a lot of businesses around the state incorporate this Colorado Concierge platform into their onboarding process for their workers, for their employees. And we encourage you to make it fun. You know, you can have some sort of certification process that you actually do become a Colorado concierge, or different things like that. So this is a relatively new program, our platform, and we're going to be building out these training modules in the year to come. So stay tuned for that. And then we also are working on our new Byways microsite. We received a grant from the State Historical Fund to build out a beautiful, inspiring new consumer-facing website to highlight all 26 of our scenic and historic byways around the state, which I know a lot go through our Main Street communities as well. And so we're very excited for the launch of this. It's on track, and it will be, it should be coming live in late spring, early summer, May, June timeframe. So stay tuned for that. And then really the heart of our rural economic development strategy is our destination development program. And this is where I'll get into a lot of our programs and funding opportunities that our different communities and rural destinations around the state can take advantage of. So the goals of our destination development are around increasing that traveler spending. Again, as we want travelers to come into our rural communities and create the most economic impact when they are there. And we also want to empower our rural destination partners to be able to have the knowledge and strategies in place to truly incorporate tourism into their economic development strategy. And then to be inclusive of all industry segments. We know with all of our rural communities around the state, there's so many different characteristics and components and assets and experiences that go into what makes the story and place unique, and which that would drive a traveler to those areas. And so we want to work with everyone. It's not just about, you know, one specific experience. It's about bringing everything together and knowing and seeing the whole picture. And so how we work with our communities is really through education and funding. Educational part of what we offer through the Destination Development Program sits within CRAFT, which is the Colorado Rural Academy for Tourism. And within CRAFT, there are a variety of different programs that are free for all of our communities to take advantage of. We have our Craft Studio 101 program. This is really meant to work with, it's designed to support communities in an early stage of tourism development. And I have a slide that will help explain what I mean when I say an early stage of tourism development in just a little bit. But we tend to look from the Destination Development Program, we look at our destinations around the state on a spectrum of whether they're early stage, mid to mid-level stage, to mature destinations. And you all know what those mature destinations might be around the state. They're very well known, internationally recognized travel destinations within the state. But we also know that there's so many other wonderful places out there throughout Colorado to visit. And so our Craft Studio 101 program is designed to support those areas that are lesser known, but that are really ready and hoping to incorporate tourism and tourism development and marketing and promotion into their local economic development strategy. You can see some of our past recipients here. And so tied with this educational program for Craft Studio 101 and all of our Craft Studio, all of our craft programs, we understand that it is one thing to be able to provide knowledge and education and training for our communities, but more often than not, our communities have very limited budgets to focus on tourism, and they're just kind of getting off the ground when it comes to tourism development and promotion. And so upon successful completion of our Craft Studio 101 program, specifically, participants are eligible to apply for $10,000 in an implementation grant to put their ideas into action and to move the needle forward for some of those key priorities that they identified throughout that 12-week training program. Our Craft Studio 201 program is designed to support communities that are further along that tourism development spectrum, in that they know that tourism is a part of their local economic development strategy. They see the impacts of tourism to their local economy. They know it's integrated into their community, and they've got some new challenge that they need help with, or some new obstacle that they're looking for support on. And so the goal with Craft Studio 201 is that those communities come to us and they say, hey, I have this specific tourism related goal that I'm trying to get to, and we can't quite figure out how to get there. We need some support. And so we receive those applications, we match that with a mentor that is an expert in whatever challenge or need area that there is. And then that mentor works with that community for about 6 to 8 months to get them over that obstacle and to get them to where they want to go. And again, there's implementation funding that's tied to this of $7,500. And this is, as Samantha mentioned, this is part of our RTAP program, the Rural Technical Assistance Program, that's tied to the larger OEdit initiative. And so that is something that we offer through RTAP. Our craft workshops, this is meant to be a less of an intensive time commitment, but more of an intensive training on a specific topic or industry segment, like culinary and agritourism or heritage and cultural tourism or adventure tourism. Communities come to us and say, you know, we don't need the whole spread of tourism education that lies within the 101 program design. We are looking for we know that we have got a lot of agritourism potential in our community, and we just need some help around, you know, either garnering momentum for these efforts or coming together for a shared focus, putting together a strategy or whatnot. So we need a workshop. So these communities who apply for the workshops will get a day and a half training on a specific topic. And you can see our previous recipients there. And then our craft mentor, this is a great opportunity. The 3 previous craft programs I mentioned are really community-based, where our craft mentor program is the one opportunity we offer that is designed specifically to support businesses, tourism-related businesses, nonprofits, organizations, associations, events, where they can come to us and apply for 50 hours of free mentoring. And it's the same model as our 201 program, in that business would come to us and say, hey, we have this specific problem. We're looking for a new social media strategy, or we need help with PR, or we're looking for help with our event, or whatever it may be. They come to us through their application, and then we pair them with a mentor who is an expert in that field. And then our craft toolkits were created with the understanding that you can have as many meetings and schedule as many opportunities as possible, but people are very busy, and more often than not in small communities, folks wear many different hats. And so time is a precious commodity. And so we wanted to create a whole resource library around all the different topics and content that we do include within our craft programs that are just out there and available on industry.colorado.com, that are free, ready to use. They're full of information for our communities and our businesses and anyone who wants them, all around these different topics. So I encourage you to check them out. They are really very robust and thorough resources for our communities to utilize. And then to get into our funding, our marketing matching grants, these are our largest grants that we offer throughout the year. They're an annual application process. And we have 2 different tiers for our marketing matching grants, our small and our large. You'll see here that the small requires a less of a cash match, and the maximum award is only $10,000. But we found with our smaller communities, this works out better because it takes them out of the same competitive pool as some of those very mature tourism destinations that are around the state, and that brings them into a different competitive pool to get them the greater probability of them getting the award. And then our tourism development grants are also provided once annually, and those provide up to $15,000 for projects targeting technical support for the development of tourism in rural Colorado. So the easiest way to explain this is everything but marketing and promotion. And so if you wanted to come to us and ask for a new website or a brochure or whatever might be in line with your marketing efforts, that would go in the marketing matching grant bucket. And the tourism development grants can be used for a variety of different things like research, assessments, strategy, plans, different things like that. So again, this is what I said with our early stage, mid-level, and mature stages of tourism development. And we've tried to plug things in, excuse me, at different places along this graph. It's just meant to be a guide. It's not anything to do with requirements by any means, but just to give our communities an idea of where they might fall around, if they consider themselves an early stage or mid-level destination, what programs might be the most appropriate. I can't emphasize enough that we love to hear from you. So if you have any questions on any of these opportunities, please call us, please email us, let us know. The BD team is small. There's 2 folks right now. I was previously, before becoming deputy director, I was the director of destination development. And we are in the process of hiring a new director of destination development who should be starting in mid-April. And Elizabeth O'Rear is a good one to know as well. She is our senior manager of grant programs. So she handles all of the grants and everything. So we love to talk with people and to help get them into the appropriate program before they apply. That's sort of one thing we hate to see is when folks go through, or communities go through the application process, and then it's just not the right fit for the program, because truly our goal is to work with everybody who needs it. It all depends, of course, on staff capacity and funding, but our hope is that once you reach out to us and say, hey, we need some support in this area, you're sort of on our radar and we want to work with you, if not now, hopefully in the near future. And just some other opportunities for scholarships and sponsorships for tourism professionals around the state. We have our tourism entrepreneurship scholarships, our professional development scholarships. If you have not attended our annual tourism conference, which takes place in the fall every year, this year it will be in Snowmass in September. And we want you to come, so much so if you've never been before, you can apply for a scholarship to attend our conference for free. And then just to end, I did want to mention our other pillar, Steward, is really around protecting the integrity of Colorado resources through sustainable tourism. This is a new area for the CTO that we've been focusing on for about a year and a half, that came forward with our strategic planning process. And through that, we've created a partnership with the Center for Outdoor Ethics called Leave No Trace, which is based in Boulder. We were the first state tourism office to partner with Leave No Trace. And it's really around just developing shared messages that we can get out to both the traveler and the Colorado resident about how we want to protect and reduce impacts on our natural resources and all things that make Colorado wonderful. So we are in the process of partnering with many different associations around the state. You'll see from this list. And we just hope that this will keep growing, because the main goal of this is, while we want travelers to come to Colorado, we want them to treat Colorado like a Coloradan would, and to know that Colorado is not something to take advantage of or to take for granted, and that we need to protect and preserve and care for all the things that make our state fabulous and that people want to come and visit. So some of the ways we do this is through our Are You Colo-Ready brochure. You'll see here we've created the Care for Colorado principles with Leave No Trace. We're just trying to encourage travelers to really be prepared when they come to the state. With the organizations that you saw on the previous slide of who we're partnering with, those folks like the Colorado Dude and Guest Ranch Association, for example, they've created their own specific Are You Cala Ready Dude and Guest Ranch edition brochure. So that's something that they are specifically sending out to their travelers and their audience. And we also have a great video. If you're not familiar, it's our Care for Colorado video. It's animated. It's meant to be a little quirky and fun, and definitely memorable. That has a song and a singing bear and moose, and talks about all of our Care for Colorado principles as well. So if you're not familiar with that, please check it out. That's at industry.colorado.com as well. And then we're also in the process of working towards electrifying our byways. We are partnering with the Colorado Energy Office, CDOT, DOLA as well to really get the infrastructure put in place along our byways to help travelers not only get off the beaten path and explore Colorado via our scenic and historic byways, but then to also reduce their impact when they do so by traveling in an electric vehicle. And that is it. There's my contact information. Please go ahead.
Jill, that was a lot. I mean, you have so many opportunities. I hope people start to consider tapping into these on a more frequent basis. Can you read the questions over in the chat, or do you want me to read them to you? You have two that came in.
I cannot because I had my screen up, so I'm not quite sure where I look at that chat. If you want to read them to me, that'd be great.
Sure. Deidre from Ridgeway has a question. Is the Colorado Concierge Training intended also for visitor center volunteers?
Yes, absolutely. Anyone and everyone who wants to take it. We operate at the CTO. We have 10 state welcome centers around, mainly at the entry points to the state. And so all of our state volunteers have taken the training. We encourage, we say frontline workers, but, that definitely includes the people at our welcome centers as well.
Perfect. And another question came in from Matt. This refers to the Colorado trips and destinations. Do the business owners need to sign up for themselves, or can a Main Street organization sign the businesses up for them?
Is that the Colorado.com free listing for the business directory, or the Cala Road Trips, the itineraries?
I think he was referring to the road trip.
Sure. You can do that on your own. I mean, I would definitely want to get the blessing of those business owners. I would recommend doing that, but there's lots of different tourism organizations in different communities, whether it's the Tourism Advisory Board or, maybe it is the Main Street manager or whomever that might be that sort of decided to put the hat on of tourism advocate or cheerleader in your community. They're taking the lead and they're filling out those forms and helping, especially with the Cala Road Trips, because you're going to need more than one business that's listed on there. So it doesn't quite work, not unless that business owner wants to reach out to their fellow business owners in their community and get them on board. Oftentimes, as I said, people wear many different hats. And so, we really just need maybe one or two main points of contact that the CTO can work with to get that itinerary fleshed out and up and running in a way that you guys like.
Perfect. Any other questions before we move on to Tom? And I will make a note here that all of these presentations, if you email Tracy or myself, we can send those to you because it has a lot of good information in it, as well as contacts and websites, so you don't have to write it down. Please just let us know. So if there's no more questions, or if you think of them later, maybe Tracy, we can switch over to Tom.
Hey, Tom, I have sent the request over to you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tom Monaco. I'm with OEDIT in the Business Opportunity and Rural Prosperity Division. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the SBDC and how the SBDC can be a great resource for small businesses, especially as you're developing your outdoor recreation and tourism industries. So the SBDC network is basically it's a statewide network. It's part of a national network. We've got 15 centers within the state that are each housed at a different organization. Some are with universities, some are with EDOs, some are with municipalities. So everyone's a little bit different depending on the region that they're in. And basically what they do is they specialize in one-on-one consulting with small businesses, entrepreneurs, startups to help you get the best chance to have a successful business. They also work with existing businesses that want to grow, businesses that want to pivot. You know, if you want to take advantage of new outdoor recreation opportunities that are coming into your region, the SBDC can be a great asset to help you strategize that. They bring resources from the federal level. They are partially funded by the SBA. And they work very closely with a lot of educational institutions, government agencies, EDOs. So they're a great networking tool, chambers of commerce, to be able to position your businesses in your communities to take advantage of the recreational opportunities that may be either existing in your region or that you're creating. You know, so what we try to do is create a community environment that encourages and supports entrepreneurship and local business development. We want to take advantage of your local talent. We want to make sure that what makes your community unique is being reflected in the businesses that are there. You know, we really see that you want to have a good volume of businesses. A lot of times if you have a brewery, when you get a second brewery, they're like, oh, now we have competition. Then you get a third brewery and a fourth brewery, and now you have a destination. So we really try to make people kind of look at that perspective of the competition can be very, very healthy, because what it does is it starts to make you more attractive to people outside of your community. And, you know, if you look at, you know, statistically on average, 80% of new job growth comes from existing companies in your community that are growing or taking advantage of new opportunities. And of course, in Colorado, outdoor recreation and tourism are, you know, as Joe pointed out, huge economic drivers in the state. You know, so the things that the SBDC does, we provide confidential one-on-one business consulting. So, you know, a business comes in, we can help you with marketing, we can help you with business plan writing, we can help you with funding, determining, you know, what sources of lending are out there, what you're going to be qualified for, how to best position yourself before you go to a lender to have the best presentation possible. We do a lot of educational programming, everything from QuickBooks to health and wellness, social media. So really almost the broad spectrum of everything that has to do with operating, starting, or growing a small business. The SBDC has resources that can help you. You know, other things we do, a lot of training. We have our Leading Edge program, which is a comprehensive, basically a boot camp for starting a business. So if you're at absolutely the ground floor, you can go through the Leading Edge program, and at the end of it, come out with a business plan and basically be ready to launch. Those programs typically run about 12 weeks, but it varies by region. You know, we have programs to help you with government procurement. If you want to do contracting for the for CDOT, or you want to do stuff for the Forest Service, we can help you with those types of certifications and be able to figure out how to become a primary contractor or secondary contractor. We have programs for cybersecurity. Right now, disaster relief obviously is a huge part of what we're doing. So the SBDC is very focused on helping small businesses navigate all of the challenges that we're going through with COVID-19. So whether that's SBA emergency disaster loans or anything that might be coming out of the new economic recovery package that they're working at the federal level. The SBDC is your first stop for anything that's small business, as far as any questions for how to make your business survive or how to position yourself best. When things turn around and people start to travel again, you want to be in the best position to be able to take advantage of that. So the SBDC, as I said, we're broken into 15 regions. So this is a map that shows sort of how we are set up in the coverage areas. And I want to take a minute to talk about what I do. So I'm what's called a Rural Opportunity Representative. I'm one of 3 for the state for the Office of Economic Development and International Trade. And what we do is we are embedded in rural communities. So I'm based in the San Luis Valley. I live in Alamosa. And what we do is we work with all the divisions of OEDIT. So we work with outdoor recreation, we work with tourism, we work with business funding and incentives. And we partner with them to help them manage their rural technical assistance programs. So we sort of guide that along with all the other divisions. And the idea is that we also work with Minority Business Office, the Employee Ownership Network. We work with partners like Manufacturers Edge, who are a great support system for any business in the community that makes things. So for outdoor recreation, if you're a ski board manufacturer or you do anything backpacks, we can be a resource for that as well. So we really try to, we kind of bridge the gap across all the divisions of OEDIT, but we primarily focus on rural Colorado to try to make sure that the needs of each individual community is being met. So we, like I said, we cover, we have an Eastern representative, Greg Thomason. He's in Fort Morgan. I actually have my slide backwards. Kat Poppenbach is our Western representative. She lives in Uray, and I cover the southern part. And we also overlap quite a bit depending on what the specific needs are of the community. Let's see. And this is our region. So we cover, so like I said, I'm based in Alamosa, Kat is in Uray, and Greg is in Fort Morgan. So we cover pretty big territories. The green dots are SBDC centers. So you can kind of see how the SBDC centers relate to the territories that we cover, and we work very, very closely with the SBDCs on a daily basis to provide a support and resource for them. And so this is our contact information. So we're sort of a primary point of contact for anybody who has a question about almost anything that's going on in OEDIT. We will be able to facilitate and hopefully connect you if you don't have a connection. What we don't do is we don't supersede relationships. So if you already have an existing relationship with the tourism office, we don't get involved in that at all. It's when you're like, we don't know how to connect with tourism. That's where we might step in and say, hey, let us make an introduction for you to make sure you're getting connected to the people that can help you, whether it's outdoor recreation, tourism, so that we're getting you the right support for whatever it is that you're trying to do. And I did that really quickly, hopefully. And any questions? I had 10 minutes. I still have 1 minute and 44 seconds left.
You do, Tom. I'm impressed. Does anyone have any questions for Tom or even comments about whether or not they utilize their SBDC representatives or local people to help them with their efforts to engage and help businesses in your rural communities grow? No?
I either did a really good job or a terrible job.
It's Deidre in Ridgeway, and I can say that I regularly refer people who are interested in starting a business to the Small Business Resource Center, which is through Region 10 in Montrose, which is what Tom was referring to. That's kind of our local SBDC. And it does seem to me that it's a very well utilized resource around here. I know I've talked with them. I've talked with Nancy Murphy about it there, and she's said that she doesn't really get very many calls from local Ridgeway businesses. And it's just interesting to me. I'm not sure what Main Street, what I could be doing to help more businesses recognize that those, all those services and opportunities and resources are there through the SBDC. I just wonder if other people in other areas, or maybe Tom, you can speak to that, what you see in your area.
You know, you kind of hit the nail on the head. A lot of times we kind of talk about the SBDC is one of the best kept secrets for small businesses that people don't realize we're there. So we try really hard to make sure that we're telling that story, and that's part of what our job as rural opportunity representatives, to make sure that when we go into community that we're reinforcing that the SBDC is an incredibly powerful tool for any small business, or even for communities to be able to use for, you know, strategically planning what types of businesses they may want to have in their communities. A lot of times we'll go in and like, you know, we wish we had a steak restaurant, or we wish we had a hardware store. The SBDC can help you sort of figure out what does that business model look like, so that if you're looking to attract a business, you know, what is the economic reality of that type of business? Is there a speculative business plan that can be created that you can use? Can you help identify what are your assets in the community, especially in the downtown? You know, vacant real estate, things like that. The SBDC can be an incredibly helpful partner for communities to try to solicit businesses to come in.
I hear church bells.
That's my clock.
Gail from Woodland Park has a question.
Oh, yeah.
What is the SBDC planning to help the small businesses to survive the shutdown so many are now experiencing with the COVID-19?
Yeah, so what we're working on right now, Gail, is if you go to the SBDC.com website, there is a section set up for the COVID-19, which carries all the resources. Right now, the biggest resource that we're seeing is the SBA disaster relief funding loans, but we're also expecting that there are going to be some grants coming through. We're working right now on doing as much webinar programming to get information out there to people. So the ChooseColorado.com website is also for OEdit is a great resource with a lot of information. You know, so what we're doing is on the individual level, the SBDCs are really trying to mobilize their consultants to be as versed as possible in all of the funding opportunities, things like, you know, business insurance, unemployment. So if you have any questions or you have a business that is struggling, we really highly recommend reaching out to your SBDC. Get in touch with them early. And let them help you figure out what that strategic plan. We're trying to work on some documents. We have some programs that we just launched out to be able to help guide businesses to be able to say, you know, hey, this is the documentation you should have in hand. These are the steps you should be taking now to identify your cash flow situation, to identify, you know, who are your primary vendors. So whatever it is, depending on the type of industry, the SBDC can really be a great advocate to help that business come up with a strategy so that they're in the best possible position to come out on the other side still solvent.
Thank you, Tom. Cynthia has posted a comment. Greg Thomason has been an outstanding rural opportunity representative. Thank you for offering his services. Yeah, he is fabulous. Thank you for sharing that, Cynthia.
Yeah, he is. He's an amazingly knowledgeable and just a super nice guy.
So anyone else that wants to type in any other questions? I know we're a few minutes over, but we started 1 minute late.
And Melody mentioned that her SBDC director is actually on their economic vitality team of Main Street. So that's some good interaction there.
Hi, this is Callie from Wellington. I was just going to say that the Larimer County SBDC has been invaluable. They have been sending me almost daily updates right now with information for businesses, as well as in the past they've been really valuable to us. And so I'm trying to share everything on behalf of the SBDC to our businesses so they understand that that information is coming from them. not from me. But they really have been amazing. And like I said, we're getting nearly daily, sometimes twice a day updates from them. So I'm very grateful.
Is that Mike O'Connell in Larimer?
It is Mike. Yep. And he has been amazing. They've especially been really helpful with virtual resources. So getting us in contact with with web developers and different people to help businesses come up with virtual ways of supporting businesses. So that's been really helpful for us. Just when there's no other way, it's been really nice to be able to connect with people that are doing things virtually and helping businesses with social media and online sales and stuff like that.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. Thank you.
Excellent, Callie. Cynthia posed another question. She's from La Junta. Is there anything we can do to promote internet trade, especially for our restaurants and hard-hit businesses?
You know, my first suggestion is probably, if you're not a member of probably a local chamber of commerce, that would be my first stop, because they have been really kind of stepping up as far as trying to promote local businesses, the whole shop local. I know here in the San Luis Valley, our chambers of commerce work very closely together to promote any specials that people have, and to really encourage people identifying the businesses that are open and doing takeout. So that we don't forget that we don't forget that we need to be supporting those local businesses, any specials that they have. So that's probably my first recommendation is connect with your chambers of commerce if you have one, because they're usually one of the strongest advocates for the local, especially restaurants and service businesses. And then as far as promoting internet trade, if you're looking to do online sales, if you're not set up for that, I would talk to your SBDC, because chances are they're going to be able to help you figure out what that platform might look like and what it would take to pivot into doing online marketing and sales.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. Is there anyone else before we let everybody off the phone, or anything specific on the COVID-19 that someone wants to reach out to one of the presenters or the Main Street program in terms of how we are supporting you or how we can support you? Well, I don't see anybody entering any more questions at this point. From all of us, all of the presenters, thank you from the bottom of my heart to OEdit, for everyone participating to put together a list of these resources to educate our community. I thank you all. Tracy's flipping back the slide. We are here to support you, Tracy, Larry, or I. Most of you know how to find us, some of you don't. If you are not part of the program or unfamiliar with Main Street, just Google DOLA Main Street. It'll pop up. Feel free to reach out to any of us. We're here to help. We're here to support, as well as everyone else that was presenting here today. So everybody be healthy, be safe, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and we'll all learn to do work virtually here. Thanks to everyone, and have a beautiful day.
Great. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.